Good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you all. So I've got butterflies. I'm up here to share my testimony today. Yeah. So we were just chatting, Pastor and I, earlier this week, and he shared a little bit of his testimony last week, and so he thought it would be good to bring in a little different perspective. So, I've been a Christian for a long time, so it's like the hardest part is trying to figure out what to share and out of such a long journey. But I think what I want to share with you is kind of how it began. And my hope is that you will see from my story that God, He treats us all uniquely as individuals. There is no one size fits all with God. We don't have to conform to some kind of pattern, but He really cares about each one of us, and He meets us exactly where we are. So for me, I grew up in South Dakota. Say woo if you've ever been to South Dakota. All right, my man. Yeah. Oh, Sturgis, that's good. So I grew up in Spearfish, South Dakota, which is about 10 miles from Sturgis, which is where they have a huge motorcycle rally every summer. Yeah? All right. It's cool. That's the one time a year where South Dakota turns into New Jersey. Right? It's like pollution and traffic and scary people. The rest of the time, it's like so nice. Anyway, all right. I'm getting off track. So... All right, I'm killing it. Okay, so I grew up in a really proper Christian home. We were Lutherans, right? Good, like Norwegian Lutherans. And my mom brought me to church every Sunday. And I was in Sunday school and vacation Bible school and youth group and every possible opportunity she brought us. Now, one thing you need to know is that I grew up in a single-parent household. My father actually tragically died when I was very young. He was an alcoholic, and he took his life when I was about 5 years old. So that was very difficult for us as a family, but my mom is an amazing woman. She is so strong, and by faith, she just took her 3 children, one of whom was a baby at the time, and she had no job, and she kept us together as a family, and she's an amazing woman. I have to, give her a lot of credit. So, for me, having been raised in the church and having gone through this, very traumatic experience, as I reached adolescence, I guess I had sort of drifted into a very worldly way of thinking. I didn't really know any other kids my age, even though I went to church every Sunday and I was in youth group and I went through the confirmation class, which is kind of like our heaven's sake class that we have here. I didn't really have friends who were like really walking with God. We all just kind of looked the same as everyone else, right? We had the same values, we spoke the same way, used a lot of curse words, listened to a lot of rock and roll, and kind of all had the same mentality. But when I started to become an adolescent, I really started to wrestle with, what is life about? And how do you get, real love in this world, right? It just seemed like everything was so, so unstable, right? Maybe because of my background. And I was just really wrestling with that as a 13-year-old, 14-year-old. And the thing was, I didn't really have any good mentors. I wasn't really comfortable talking to my mom about this stuff, and I didn't have a wonderful sort of set of men in the church who would reach out to me and sort of help me along with this. So I was kind of by myself, struggling with this. And I would stay up late at night some nights, just wrestling with these questions, right? I didn't really have any good answers. I tried different things. I was a really good student. But I really wanted to be accepted, right? I really wanted to fit in. So I was starting to kind of act out in school a little bit. Not too much, but just a little bit, just to try to get some attention and get some respect from the cool kids. But that didn't seem authentic either. So I'll never forget though. I don't know what night it was. I don't know, exactly even how old I was, just that I was a teenager. But one night I was up late. I was like sitting in the living room, just sitting on a couch. Everyone was asleep. I'm just wrestling with these thoughts. And just this like tiny little voice in my head said, what if all that stuff you've been hearing in church, what if that was true? What would that mean? And I was like, whoa, like that would make all the difference. But then I just quickly realized, like, that's a terrifying thought because I'd actually have to believe it. And I'm not sure I do. I'm not even sure there's a God. How do I know? I can't see him. I can't feel him. How do I know there's a God? Of course, I didn't realize at the moment that was God who was speaking to me. But I was really, I didn't know what to do. And I felt like this is such a momentous thing. I'm like staking my life on this, right? Either I'm going to believe it and this would change my life or I'm not going to believe it. So again, I was kind of by myself. I didn't have anyone to really talk to. So I thought, well, what am I going to do? I had an idea. I'm going to read the Bible from cover to cover. And when I get to the end, I'll make a decision. So that's what I did. And I wasn't even through Genesis. And this amazing person just leapt off the pages and became so real to me. It just had to be true. This amazing God who cared so much about people, he was seeking them in the Garden of Eden, right? They were trying to hide from him, and he was looking for them. And all through history, all these people that were so lost, just like me, and he would find them, and he would call them. And that was it. I mean, he had me. I finished the Bible, but that was it. That's where faith began in my heart, was through that experience. But I wasn't done, and I'm still not done. I think that, I had a lot of doubts, and I still have doubts. I'm a scientist, so I have to deal with a lot of these science and faith questions, and that has really been something I've dealt with a lot over my life. I'm also a stubborn person, and I'm a person who is very self-sufficient. It's really hard for me to admit I need somebody or to rely on somebody emotionally like God. But he has been very good to me, and I think that, that experience I had that night, it keeps happening to me where I will be in a moment, a difficult moment, and then that little voice will come and remind me that he's there and that he loves me and that I'm not alone. So that's my testimony. Thank you.